Speaking of Biden family controversies, Hunter's attorneys wrote a scathing screed to House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith attacking the IRS whistleblowers. And in it, they claim whistleblower Gary Shapley leaked details of the investigation to the Washington Post article back in October. The article detailed how federal agents believed they had sufficient evidence to charge Hunter. And Hunter's attorneys described this as an illegal leak with no evidence. Mind you, that Shapley was the source of the leak. That's what they allege anyway. Shapley's lawyers are fighting back, sending a letter to the Washington Post demanding that they set the record straight on allegedly false and defamatory statements made by Hunter's legal team. And intimidation has become the go-to plan for the Hunter's team. As Kim Strassel of the Wall Street Journal notes, quote, Hunter Biden has adopted a legal strategy of threats and character assassination. The real targets of Hunter's lawyers were the whistleblowers themselves, and the letter is filled with inaccuracy and innuendo. So joining me now to discuss more of this, the details, is Jason Foster, the attorney for IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley. So Jason, Fox Digital reached out on Wednesday to a representative for the Washington Post, asking them, why are you accusing your client of being this source of what they say is an illegal leak, and they don't want to comment on their sourcing. So what's your next course of action if they won't admit that your client isn't the leaker?
Well, we've already taken decisive action by sending an affidavit to the Ways and Means Committee in which Gary swears that it wasn't him under penalty of 1001 false statements to Congress. He could be prosecuted if he's lying about that. And we've challenged the Washington Post. We've released them. If they want to release any communications directly or indirectly with Gary and anyone at the Washington Post, they are free to do so. But they're not going to do that because they want to hide behind the statement, well, we don't comment on sourcing. I understand that. I understand why they don't want to comment on sourcing. They don't want to start a game of process of elimination and answering questions about who the sources are for their pieces. But this is a unique situation because the Washington Post, uniquely among all media, knows the truth that what Abbe Lowell wrote is a lie.
So in terms of what the Washington Post is refusing to do here, essentially they're helping the Biden team, the Hunter Biden team, intimidate your client by not saying that he's not the leaker. You've argued this is defamation.
Exactly. They're essentially, but their silence makes them complicit in a plan by the Biden legal team to plant, this retaliatory accusation against folks who are blowing the whistle on the special treatment that was given to the president's son in a criminal investigation. And anyone who works with whistleblowers and for and on behalf of whistleblowers for any period of time recognizes this. This is a common pattern. This is what always happens every single time.
Yeah.
When whistleblowers come forward with evidence supporting their information and it causes pain for people in power, they lash out at the whistleblower. They try to make the whistleblower the issue instead of the issue that the whistleblower is blowing the whistle on. And here we have Gary Shapley, and his credibility really doesn't even matter because he's brought documents and evidence, and the inspectors general at the Justice Department and for the IRS will be able to get mountains more of evidence because what he's saying is true, and there will be tons of corroborating evidence to back it up. So it doesn't really matter what Gary Shapley's credibility is. What he said is accurate. There were punches pulled on the Hunter Biden investigation, and now Hunter Biden's lawyers are trying to gin up some kind of a criminal inquiry against the person who blew the whistle on that preferential treatment.
Well, and Mr. Shapley's claims have been corroborated by other whistleblowers as well. So his credibility is certainly been bolstered by other people who have similar information about what went on here. But in terms of the legality here, it is illegal for retaliation against someone who is a whistleblower who has protections from Congress for whoever they're working for to lash out against them. But it seems like a tactic that the Hunter Biden lawyers are using in a roundabout way to go after someone who is legally protected as a whistleblower through that process. And it's not that your client's just working with Republicans. You're also working with Democrats in the Senate to get to the bottom of what happened here.
That's absolutely right, and it was Gary Shapley's insistence from the very beginning that he would make he's not afraid of being cross-examined by both sides. He wants to be cross-examined by both sides. He insisted that this be a bipartisan process, and that's what we've done. And even before going to Congress, he went to the DOJ Inspector General, and they have been investigating this for some time before even any of this went public. So, and you can see the reason that they're doing this is just to distract, to make Gary the issue instead of dealing with the issues that they're on their heels now. I mean, Mr. Weiss, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, recently sent a letter up to Capitol Hill that essentially changed his tune and practically admits everything that Gary has been saying. That letter that he sent up, right. He basically says, yeah, I can't charge outside of Delaware. That's exactly what Gary said. I needed permission of the U.S. attorneys in D.C. or California. That's the problem that Gary was blowing the whistle on. There's no reason that President Biden's political appointees in those districts should have had any role anywhere near this investigation of the president's son. And they did.
Yet they did. And there was a sweetheart deal that was cut, and we'll see where that goes from here. Certainly there's a lot to unpack, and we look forward to what your client has to say in the future. Thank you so much, Jason.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.